All right, let's get this started. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. My name is Purva. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lily AI. I'm so thrilled to be here with Hilary from ALC, which is going to be the meat of the conversation. But before we get started, I'd love to kick us off with some chromatic chaos. Let's start there. So, to a room full of folks from retail, what color is midnight? Well, great. That's awesome. So, midnight is blue, and WGSN called it in their recent spring-summer trend. And we, as at Lily AI, we actually did a consumer survey in January, and we asked consumers, what color is midnight? And 50% said it's black. 30% said it's blue, and 20% were, I don't know where, but that's the whole point, that the way merchants describe products and the way marketers describe products is not how consumers are describing products. And that gap is what Lily AI is solving. We're bridging the gap between merchant speak, marketer speak, and consumer speak. And now you have machines as well. So there is machine speak as well. Let's look at a few more examples to sort of make the point here of a few more fail examples. For this blush here, we're talking about heat index, bouncy. I don't know who's looking for a bouncy blush. And so the way that the consumer is looking for blush here on Google, on Instagram, on TikTok, it's Sabrina Carpenter makeup must-haves. That's what they're looking for. But that kind of language of the consumer is not how it's represented by the merchant or the marketer on the PDP, for example. Another example here, I don't know what is Noel fabric, and I would actually be worried to look at sinuous wires in this thing. And so, again, the way that the consumer is looking for it, that language is very different. And similarly, I don't know what Buffalo is. Maybe some of you in the audience know here, retail audience knows what this is about, the leather, but nobody's looking for a bag or a tote like that. And so how do we solve this? And what we do here at Lily AI is AI-powered product content optimization. What we are doing is we are infusing the consumer into your product information to improve visibility, engagement, and ultimately sales. So we're making sure that the language that the consumer is using, you're infusing that into your information about the product, and it's optimized for every single channel where it goes to. So, for example, for this dress, what you see on the left side are attributes that are what are traditionally done at a retailer or a brand. And then what you see on the right is the attributes, the essential attributes that Lily is generating using the AI platform, which are more centered around occasions and different types of trends, etc., and more in the language that the consumer is using to describe this specific dress, for example. And then there's different types of content. So yes, you can start with attributes and labels about the product, but then it very quickly goes into other types of textual content around how do you describe this thing for your PDPs. And as you know, your PDP is the new homepage. Mm-hmm. Everything on the PDP is just so important from a conversion perspective. And now AI can generate that to make sure your brand voice is represented, it's SEO friendly, and it is consumer friendly. That trifecta is really important. And then we can generate that kind of content. And then this is where machines come in. It's no more just the Google bot that's crawling your PDPs. It's all the bots. It's the GPT bot. It's the Perplexity bot. It's all the bots that are looking for structured information from your PDPs, and you need to have that to basically future-proof now. And this is the type of content that Lily is generating. This is live on one of our customers, J.Crew, where you see the schema, where you see the attributes, either customer-facing or non-customer-facing in the schema itself. And so basically, this is how AI can now generate the content, but also optimize it for every single channel wherever you are meeting your consumer. So that's a lot about Lily AI. I would love to go to the meat of the conversation to talk more about ALC and how you've seen success. So maybe we start with Hilary. What's the story behind? I know you reached out to us, and so what were you looking for? Let's start there.
Sure. Yeah, we had a bit of a meet cute. I found Lily because my brother was looking for a job and found Lily and said, "What do you think about this company?" And I said, "Oh, I actually want to talk to them." Because it looked as though at the time, this is back in 2022, it could help address a business challenge we were facing at ALC. And for those of you that don't know, ALC, we're a women's advanced contemporary brand, primarily known for dresses, and more specifically, some key iconic styles. And so when it came to search, both organic and paid, we found customers were coming to us just for a handful of products, really, and we needed to improve discovery. Again, holistically as a brand, we were looking how we could build out other categories, diversify, take the consumer from dresses to sweaters and trousers and all the things. And, there's all the things we can do on site and obviously marketing and merchandising, but it really came down to the e-commerce and digital team to figure out how to improve discovery. So enter Lily. And we started working with you guys, I believe it was late 2022. There are obviously on-site benefits and search benefits that we knew would be there, but that wasn't as much our focus. We really were focused on impact for organic search and paid search. And we found success with both. So pretty much right away in 2022, we added the attributes to our product catalog, and we saw a huge shift and a huge lift in our non-branded search terms. So there you go. Non-brand drove 88% of impressions and 40% of clicks. The volume of products, people coming to us, expanded dramatically. And we actually saw this over time trickle down to getting authority in other categories. So now sweaters, knits are all huge categories for us. Dresses still, but it really has impacted the entire business. So that's been great.
That's on the huge. Side. That graph is so beautiful.
I know, it is a great graph. And we really, I think when we started with you guys, probably, because it was a long time ago now, one of your smallest brands. And I remember you guys worked mostly with multi-brand retailers back then and bigger box retailers. And we weren't sure of the success we would see, again, just being a smaller brand. And I think your first Shopify partner, but we were excited.
A lot of firsts.
Yeah. Well, listen, good that ALC is small but mighty, but we invest a lot in technology and we're given a lot of breadth to try things because without innovation, you get stagnant. So yeah, we're super excited to see this pay off pretty much right away.
Yeah. And I think the test results were amazing.
This was in paid. So we then moved to tests and structured tests around our paid search and looking how we could improve efficiencies and what the true impact was. So we ran some tests and we saw a tremendous lift in the products that had Lily's attributes attached to it, across both volume of products sold and then also the revenue attached to it. So not only did we sell more units, we sold more at a higher AOV, which was fantastic. And this led to expanded testing that we are doing around just a number of attributes in GMC. So we did a test around highlights and Lily's work there, and we saw a 13% lift in clicks. We're doing work in our product titles and our PDP pages. Now, ALC being a very precious women's fashion brand, has been very tepid about moving into full writing of the product copy and descriptions with Lily, just because, there's still a lot of brand control. But what started with us is a pretty, push-pull relationship. We give you the products, you give us attributes, we set it, it works, has moved to a much more collaborative relationship. So now we use the insights and data to give to our marketing team. And so they use that to help write the copy based on trends you're seeing. Same with our merchandising team. You guys give us data and insights into what you're seeing, and it's actually changed sometimes the cadence we're going to launch, like white dresses. We might move up a lot of our dresses into an early seasonal delivery to help capture what consumers are looking for and what we're seeing as a result. So it's become much more collaborative and cross-functional.
That's amazing. I mean, that is music to our ears. Because again, I think what's really important here is sort of the innovation mindset, and you certainly have that, and you literally brought that to us every quarter with new challenges. And there's no one way of just solving this and like this is the offering that we have, but then versus doing it, okay, this is the problem we have, how do we go solve it? And both teams have just made sure that we're trying to solve the problem And if it becomes an offering, this is great. But if it doesn't, then we're just trying to solve the problem. And so I think that's been fantastic. And from from the point of view of testing, you've just wanted to test so many things. And that openness is just fantastic to see for a brand where, I think in today's world, there is no other way to implement AI than to test. You've just got to be able to test and have solid hypothesis and just go about doing that in a sort of
because nothing is stagnant for very long.
Absolutely.
As you well know. And especially in digital marketing. I mean, I don't know who yours. I'm assuming a lot of you in digital marketing, but I mean, everything year after year, quarter after quarter, there's new changes. So being able to react to that is hugely important. And you can't get that without continual testing,
Absolutely. And every channel, every platform, everything is changing all the time. And so it's just so important. So what's next? I keep going back. Sorry. Looking ahead.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to reveal state secrets here, but you do have a lot of exciting things coming up.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to continue being an early testing partner with your new product launches and opportunities. Found out about some exciting things coming up that hopefully we can get launched in the next few weeks. So but again, it's more iterative, continual testing. And I think, again, for us, getting you guys more involved a little bit closer with our product team, like our, not your but fashion product.
Yeah.
But what consumers are looking for, what they're, and blending that in. So I think that's going to be an area we focus on a lot more. We have as a company a huge relaunch pivot coming up mid to late year. And so one way we've also worked with you guys is to continually push, even though we get attributes, to rerun them based on seasonal changes and updating and refreshing. So we're looking to work very closely there because while a lot of our catalog can kind of stay the same and attributes, maybe it's like, I don't know, I'm making this totally up, but maybe 70% of the attributes are going to be the same. There's 30% that are going to shift based on trends, like zeitgeist cultural moments, things that are important to weave in that we can react to. Or another example is we have a lot of core product that could be searched for one way in spring, but very differently in the fall. And so just making sure that we continue to react and kind of, work more closely around all that.
Yeah. And this is the conversation I've had at this conference with every single exec, that like fundamentally what's happening in the retail stack is you have your systems of truth at the bottom. So you have your all the systems that you have where you're storing and distributing data from your PIM to your MDM to DAM to all these different types of products that you have. And then you have your systems of context on the other side, which are interacting with the consumer. So, Google, for example, is a channel there, on-site search, e-com platforms, etc., all of those things. And what's happening is what is missing in the stack is a player that is doing content optimization, and this is where we fit in. But the reason that's missing is because nobody is taking the sort of headache of updating the content, because everything is changing. And so what happens to the product content?
Well, it's resource intensive.
Exactly. And so we no more live in this world where you wrote the content one time and then forgot about it. And that same content is going to every channel and, it is not optimized, and that's not how the consumer is looking for it. That doesn't work anymore. And so, that's where we think that every retail stack now needs a product content optimization engine that's basically making sure that the language of the consumer from every channel is being matched to the product content, and it's current and it's dynamic, right? And as you know now with our sort of GMC optimization offering, we're not just generating sort of the essential content, but we're also generating the dynamic content, which is where we're literally looking at search terms from your Google Ads, Search Console, etc., and constantly mining keywords out of that and putting that back on the catalog and making sure that that feedback loop is closed, so that whichever new way that the consumer is looking at it, if it's Office Siren or whatever else that's happening on TikTok, it's going on the catalog and it's searchable all the way from Google to your site and the whole experience.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, and this is not new news, I feel like I've talked about this for 15 years, dating myself. No, but everything is more fragmented. Everyone's finding their own, the discovery is just like incredibly fragmented, right? You're discovering sometimes on TikTok, or maybe you trust TikTok for something, or maybe you trust it for this, but consumers react differently. So you have to be all the things to everyone all at once.
Yep.
And again, it's more than any physical team is really capable of, at least within our size. And all executives right now are looking for efficiencies. And so anything that's improving your efficiency in ad spend, that's making anything less manual, more automated, and allows the teams managing all these products to spend more time thinking and strategizing versus executing on some of these more, not that it's remedial, but like, entering the actual attributes is not, brain surgery, but the person that was doing that can now spend their time thinking on other things that we can
Absolutely.
be doing.
And the way that I think about this is that the expectation that we should have from AI is to get there 80-90%. percent I do not think we should have an expectation of anything more than 90%, because this is going to become a baseline.
Yeah.
Everybody's content is going to get there at some point. And so there will be the human differentiation, and humans going to become this new sort of luxury of how do you spend it? How do you use the human to get that extra edge of creativity out there that is different from what machines can generate? So I think this whole paradigm is going to move into sort of AI taking the first pass at generating sort of that repetitive, grunt work of getting it there 80-90%, and then humans spending time in sort of the cream of it, the creative of it, and making sure that it still is different and that edge is there, but sort of the basics are taken care of.
And there's also, going back to new technologies, and not that ChatGPT or any of those are Perplexity or new, but there's no ad opportunity yet. And obviously there will be for some of these. So a constant conversation we have with our reps, and then also our team, is like, how can we optimize, knowing it's going to come?
Absolutely.
What are we doing proactively now that can set us up for best success when these new things happen?
Intent. This is one of the new things we're
test
talking.
it. The team tests it. Like, we'll search and see. Sometimes does ALC come up? Does it not? Go incognito. Like try all the different things.
Absolutely. So this is one thing that we're exploring.
Yeah.
In how you guys show up in GEO now. But again, I think I've said this a few times also at this conference. In the same survey that we did in January, a consumer survey, we asked consumers, and 4 in 10 is saying that they are doing GEO versus just a non-generative AI experience.
Yeah.
That is massive.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't show in all of the Google's search share numbers, but what's interesting here is that the behavior is changing at a rapid scale.
Yeah.
That consumers we know, like among us, and not just the retail audience, but like actual consumers are now starting to just start their shopping experiences on some of these answer engines and are looking for the relevant answers. And so I think for the brands now is just so important. And for brands, it's so important that the relevant content is there, because as you said, like, we're still figuring out what's going to be able to pay for and not, but relevance is still going to be the key thing that's going to be the underpinning, or that's a promise that all these platforms out of the box offer.
Well, and another platform, just not that sexy, but Amazon's making, for fashion at least, major plays in fashion. And we're launching an Amazon shop. A few other brands in our space have, but it's another area where, again, they're taking our data. We need to restructure it. We have to structure it differently. So there's a lot of opportunity there as well, because Amazon's a very competitive advertising space.
Absolutely. And the short phrase that I like to use is "be found to be sold." And so that's what everybody's got to make sure in this new era of search that we live in on all of these platforms, that the product content is taken care of.
And also a lot of organic social channels now are such, based on your interest graph, obviously, but they're, I'm sure everyone's noticed this, but a lot of brands are having a hard time breaking through in organic social, because it becomes quite a quick echo chamber.
Absolutely.
I'm a mom with 2 little kids. I click on one funny, meme about kids, and then all I get are memes of kids, right? So like, it reacts quite quickly, but what it's done is really hinder some brands organically. So again, it puts more pressure on organic search and paid search and other areas to be discovered. So it's been a lot of, what we've seen.
So I see we don't have more time. I would like to thank you, Hilary, for the amazing partnership. We've really enjoyed working with you specifically over the last few years. And we have such a fantastic partner in you who wants to do more.
More and more.
And more and more. This is so exciting. Thank you so much for your time
you.
and partnership, Hilary. Awesome.